What is going on, guys? Today we are doing another lens review, and today we're talking about the Sony G24-105. This is a lens I feel is a little bit underrated out there. I don't think it does get enough praise for what it is. Now at the start of this video I'm going to break down and review this lens, and then as always at the end of this video I'm going to give my personal opinion and thoughts, what I think about this lens and who this lens is for. Now, before we go ahead and start, as always, my name is Niclas and I would really appreciate it if you could smash that like and subscribe button. And if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. Now, one of the obviously strongest sides of this lens is the fact that it covers such a great range from 24 to 105 millimeters. And usually when you have such a great range, you also get a great weight. Because this lens is an f4 lens, you don't really get that same weight that you see in those other zoom lenses with the faster aperture, the 2.8. For example, the G-Master 24-70 Mark I, that comes in at around 900 grams, while this comes in at only 660 grams. Now, if I were to attach this lens to the A7 IV, you will get a total of around 1.3 kilos, which isn't too bad considering the type of range this lens covers. But as I said, this lens is an f4, and the downside to this is that you won't get the same good performance in low light. Talking a little bit about the build quality of this lens, it is resistant to moisture and dust. It also has a autofocus manual focus switch. Now this lens also has optical stabilization inside, and it also has a switch that you can turn the OSS on and off. So I'm going to show you an example here, me shooting with the A7 IV, having it turned on and off. Also, I'm going to show you here with the ZV-E10 Mark II that does not have IBIS with the on and off. Now the focus ring I really like, it does turn nice and smoothly, has a very good feel to it, but I wish I could say the same with the zoom ring. This does not turn nice and smoothly at all. Now on the side you will also find that focus hold button, which is very nice, and the filter thread size on this lens is 77mm. Now for the autofocus on this lens, it's very quick, quiet and responsive, which is nice to see. And if you don't have that breathing compensation for your camera, I'm happy to report that this lens also has little to none focus breathing as well. Now touching on image quality and sharpness, this lens is very sharp. Now if you are looking at charts and you are shooting with the widest focal length of 24mm, you might find some softer corners, but if you go up to 105, those corners will get sharp again. But in a real life scenario, when you are using this lens, it won't be that noticeable unless you're like shooting against a brick wall or something like that. So the conclusion here is just that this is a very sharp lens. But it's not just the sharpness that's good, the color and contrast you also get out of this lens is also pretty good. Now the bokeh on this lens isn't too much to brag about since this is an f4 lens, but in those situations where you actually do get a blurry background, I'm gonna say that the background actually doesn't look too bad. Now the flaring as well, not too bad. Now it does suffer a little bit from vignetting and distortion, but most of the cameras today, they fix this with their internal corrections. Alright, so what do I think of this lens? Well, I do think this is a very underrated lens and underappreciated lens, but I also think that this lens is a lens that goes very easily under the radar for other people. Because this is an f4 lens, I think people have gotten so used to the f2.8 that every time they see an f4 lens, they just shove that lens aside. I think that's a big mistake. Now the truth is that this lens is a workhorse of a lens. Now because this lens goes all the way from 24mm to 105mm means that this lens will cover you for whatever you decide to do, whether that's landscape, headshots, commercial work, or whatever type of work you need to do. The only thing you are gonna miss out on is the creative side, where you might want a shallow depth of field. Now if I were to go traveling for a weekend and I could only bring one lens, this is definitely a lens I would be looking at bringing. Now I shoot with the ZV-1, so for video work I can just set the ISO all the way up to 12,800 and I don't have to worry about any sort of low light problems. The only thing, as I said, is that creative side, the shallow depth of field. I'm not gonna lie, I do like shooting with a shallow depth of field. But overall, if you are shopping for a lens, this is a great option. It is a little bit expensive. It is above $1,100-$1,200. But if you can pick this up on a used market, I think you are making a very good deal. Anyways, there you have it. Those are my thoughts. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button before you leave. Take care, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Have a good one.